Hello, I'm Michael Finn, holistic exercise and lifestyle coach, and today I am going to show you my #1 exercise for sciatic nerve pain. So I am responding to questions that have come in through my Instagram account, MichaelFinn490, as well as on Facebook. You can find me there too, and then of course here on YouTube with FinFit TV. And lots of questions have been coming in about how to resolve sciatic nerve pain. So listen carefully. This is my #1 exercise that is 100% effective, and this is the important part, when people do it correctly. So that is the important part. I've shown this exercise to hundreds of people, and it's about 50% effective because 50% of the people actually follow what I tell them to do, and the other 50% start altering it and making it different, and then it doesn't work. Or they're doing it too fast, or they're doing something wrong with it, or they're trying too hard. So, but then when they come back to me and say it's not working, and then I go through it again and say you have to do it the way I'm showing you to do it, it's 100% effective. So that's rule #1. Rule #2 is it's really important to aid in this process to eliminate a lot of the things that cause your nervous system to be faster. So our nervous system is what sends electrical signals down through our body. And so if we are having nerve problems, there's too many electrical signals going through your body all at once, and it's overloading the system. Now, we don't have a breaker box like you do in the house. You know, if you plug too many items in and you're trying to run the vacuum and the heater and do whatever else all at the same time, boom, you blow a fuse, right? Well, in the house nowadays, it's fairly easy. You just go out there, you flip the switch back on and, and unplug some things and everything's okay. But in the human body, it doesn't work that way because it actually does damage. So we have to be careful. So eliminating stimulants like coffee, energy drinks, pre-workout stuff that's loaded with caffeine. All these things ramp up the nervous system and make it go faster than it was designed to go and cause problems in the system. Second thing is spending some time doing grounding work because we are bombarded with electromagnetic fields from Wi-Fi and cell phones and everything else. So if I look at my cell phone right now, there'd be like 20 different Wi-Fis I could pick from that I'm getting hit with my body. It's so why I'm barefoot right now, so that electromagnetic energy can go into the ground and come out of my body. So walking on wet grass, or just even regular grass, or in the dirt, or on rock, or on wood, or on the beach is really great. Wet sand is really awesome for like absorbing all of that out of the body. So those are important things too. You can get a grounding mat. Oftentimes I have a grounding mat in here for my clients that are really wound up with electromagnetic energy. I get most of my grounding work while I sleep because I have a grounding mat in my bed, and you can Google grounding or grounding mats or anything like that and learn tons more about grounding, and you can find more about grounding here on my channel. So that's another big key. All right, last big key point before we start is don't expect results immediately. So this exercise will make it feel better right away, but by the time the next day rolls around, you're probably only going to be about 2 to 5% better. It just kind of depends upon how much your body ramps back up between the times. And so that's why the more frequently you can do this exercise, the more benefits you're going to get out from it. And you can't really overdo this exercise as long as you are following the rules and doing it correctly. So I've had people eliminate really, really painful sciatic pain in 1 week by just doing this exercise 3 to 5 times throughout the day. So, and then after that, they really only needed to do it once a day to maintain that until we got the other issues resolved that were causing their sciatic pain in the first place. So, all right, so there's that. So now, little explanation. So nerves. If you think about the cord, or something that you plug into the wall, okay, you've got an electrical cord that in the middle of that cord is actually the metal part that is carrying the electricity to whatever the item is that you plugged in. And then around the outside of that is the insulation so that you can grab onto it, because if that insulation wasn't there and you grabbed onto that wire, you're going to get shocked. Okay, so it's protecting the rest of the surroundings from the electrical field itself. So we have to be aware of that, because the same thing happens in the body. Our nerves are running through what's called a myelin sheath, and that myelin sheath is made from saturated fat. And most people are still in the mindset of avoiding saturated fat. Saturated fat comes from highly, basically, how do I put this the right way? It comes from animals that are raised really correctly. So cows and other bovine animals that are fed grass and they live out on the pasture throughout their whole life. They're not fed grain. Grain is not what cows eat. Cows don't go over and knock down stalks of corn and eat corn. They eat grass. Okay? So we get it from things like that, grass-fed butter, and that saturated fat helps keep that myelin filament and sheath around the nerve healthy. So it's very important that we are consuming enough of that, and we're avoiding, so if you look on all my videos on what to eat and what not to eat, and we're avoiding all of the highly processed fats, the vegetables, oils, the seed oils, and all that sort of thing. Those things are very damaging to that myelin sheath. If you eat too many of those, your myelin sheath's going to have holes in it, and all those electrical impulses are going to be coming out and getting into all of your other tissue, and that's what we need to make sure we stay away from. Okay? Alright, so all those little notes, very important to know all of that so that we can actually fix what's going on. Alright, that's why I got to throw all these things out to you, because I want to actually help you. So, here we go. So, since we know that, every time we slide our nerve up and down through that myelin sheath, it's actually going to relax it, and it's going to hydrate it. So, because oftentimes when nerves get mad, it's because they're not hydrated enough, they're not moved enough, which is why movement is so important, and they need some more hydration so that they can be lubricated, so that they can function more correctly. Alright? So, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to go through this exercise. I've kind of adapted this exercise ever so slightly from Feldenkrais. Moshe Feldenkrais came up with lots of different things for the sciatic nerve, and this is a few different variations of one exercise that I have found that works the best with 100% of the people when done correctly. Okay? So we can sit on a bench like this, or on the side of your bed, or on the side of a couch. So I'm sitting up tall and straight. We're going to do my left leg. So my left leg is straight down the length of the bench, but my foot is hanging off the end of the bench so that I can move my foot around freely. You can do the same, and my right foot is flat on the floor. Okay? So you can do the same thing on the side of the bed. Sitting on the side of the bed, right foot on the floor, left leg down the length of the bed, and your foot hanging off. Okay? If you need to angle yourself a little bit on the bed so that your left foot is hanging off, because I do this a lot in hotel rooms and everything else, sometimes there's not room. You have to like manipulate yourself a little bit. Same kind of thing with a couch. You can do it that way, but important to have that left foot free, and important to have the right foot down on the floor so that it's out of the way. Okay? And my left leg is straight. If there's a little tension in your hamstring, then you can, there can be a little bit of bend. You don't have to hold it completely straight. There can be a slight little bend there, but we will work on that as well. If sitting in this position is very uncomfortable for your sciatic pain, then you basically need to start this exercise laying all the way down flat on a bed like this, which obviously my head's hanging off, but I mean on a bed where everything's supported, and you need to start the exercise basically this way. Alright? So if you have that problem, contact me and let's fix it, okay? So, but for most people, they are able to get into this position. So, sitting up tall, left leg out straight, left foot free, right foot down on the floor. So now all I want you to do is put your hands down to where your left hand's on the left side of your left leg and your right hand's on the right side of your front leg, so that you've got them down on your bench or your bed or whatever else you're using. And then lean forward, keeping your back pretty straight. So don't try to tuck your chest down to your thigh. Think about laying your tummy down towards your thigh. But I only want you to go to the point to where you can just feel that sciatic nerve tightness coming up somewhere through the back of your leg or into your hip or something like that. As soon as you start to feel that, I want you to come up just like about a ½ inch, just to where you don't feel that anymore. All right? And then stop right there. Make a note of where you're at. Hold that position. And now we're going to do the exercise. So what I want you to do is I want you to inhale, and I want you to pull your toes up towards your knee. So the only thing that's going to move is your foot. So you're just going to turn those muscles on in the front of your shin to pull those toes up towards your knee. And you're going to lift your chin at the same time, like you're going to look up towards the ceiling, only moving your head, not your spine. And then you're going to exhale, and you're going to drop your head all the way down, and you're going to drop your toes all the way down. And you're going to use as little effort as possible to do this, so that you're only moving your head and your foot. So that you're going to inhale and lift your toes up and your head up. And you're going to exhale and lower your head down and your toes down. Big inhale, lifting your head up and your toes up. Big exhale, dropping your head down and your toes down. Nice and slow, following your breathing pace. And this is what I mean. You must follow this correctly to get results. If you try to go too fast, if you force the motion, if you're in a position where you already have pain, or you already have tightness in that sciatic nerve, you're not doing the exercise correctly. You need to be right at the edge of where you can control, and you need to move slowly, taking deep, full breaths. Big inhale, lifting that face and toes up, and then exhaling and dropping them down. And relaxing so that you feel the whole backside of your leg and your hip relaxing. Okay? You're going to do that about 10 to 20 times, at least 10, and preferably, especially if you're just starting out, a good 20 times. Okay? And you should feel things getting more relaxed in the back of your leg. So after you've done 10 or 20 times, you can bend forward just a little bit more and see if you can go a little farther. Most of the time you're able to go another inch or so farther. And then you can stop at that point. Come off just a little bit so that you don't have tension. And then you're going to repeat. Big inhale, lifting the toes up and the head up. Big exhale, dropping all the way back down. Big inhale, lifting the toes and the head up. Big exhale, dropping all the way back down. So I'm doing this first thing in the morning so that my hamstrings are a little bit tight, so that I wouldn't be laying all the way down on my leg, because I haven't done any movement yet, because I wanted to show what ends up happening. So when I stopped before, I felt tension not in my sciatic nerve, because my sciatic nerve's long enough, but I felt tension in my hamstring. So, but this will also loosen up your hamstrings. I do this a lot with my male clients, my older male clients. They have tension in their hamstrings because the sciatic nerve runs right through the hamstrings, and it will help calm this down. So what we're doing, every time you pick that foot up and the face up, we are sliding that nerve down towards our Achilles tendon. And every time we drop the foot down and the head down, we are sliding that nerve up towards our hip, because the sciatic nerve is attached to the bottom of your spinal cord, and your spinal cord is attached to your skull. So you are wired from head to toe. So we want to make sure that we are sliding that wire up as we drop the toes down and the head down. And then we're inhaling and we're sliding that nerve down towards our foot as we go toes up, head up. Back and forth, slow and steady, under control, following the breath. Toes up, face up. Exhaling, toes down, head down. So that we're lifting that foot up there. Everything's relaxed on the bench. I'm using no effort at all. Very, very little effort, and I'm moving incredibly slow. So I don't know how many I've done at least 10. But now, as you can see, I've moved out farther. When I started, my hands were like back here by my knee, and now I can get my hands all the way out to the middle of my shin, and I am much closer down to my leg. And once again, I don't have any sciatic feeling, but I can feel my hamstring still a little bit tight, so I'm going to loosen that up. So for these people with tight hamstrings, this is good for the hamstring too. So, and then I'm going to start again here. Big inhale, big exhale. Big inhale, big exhale. Moving slowly and steady and relaxing through the motion so that your body can calm down. You can have some nice music on. Think of calming things. You can even have your eyes closed and picture being on a nice beach, but nice and steady, all right? And then you can do that. I typically tell people to do 10 to 20, reach out a little bit, do another 10 to 20, reach out a little bit, do another 10 to 20. If you have a lot of pain and you really need to get it shut down, well, keep moving out there until you can actually come all the way back up to seated and stand up and walk around and not feel your sciatic nerve anymore, all right? So, but that's it. So if you go too fast, it's not going to work. If you try too hard, it's not going to work. So if you're too wound up and you're not doing some of the other things that I mentioned, it may not work either, but I really haven't had too much of a problem with that. It just, if those other things are going to make it last longer. So when you first do this, you might have relief for 2 to 6 hours. It just kind of depends upon the person. And then it's going to start coming back again, and you need to do it again. And then it will go away for a while because you will hydrate it and lubricate it so it can heal itself, and then it will come back again. You need to keep doing this, and each day it will get better and better and better. Expect only 2 to 5% improvement per day. The body has to repair itself, and it needs to take time to do that. And the healthier that you eat, the faster it will happen. When I have clients come to me that are already following all of my really good rules about eating food that comes from Mother Nature, and they're not putting crap in their mouth all the time, they just heal up real quick. They're done in a week, so no problem. Those people that are eating a bunch of garbage food and processed vegetable oils and everything else, it takes as much as a month. So you are built from what you eat, so make sure that you're eating properly too, all right? So that is my number one exercise for creating or eliminating the sciatic pain and improving that function of the sciatic pain. It will also make your whole leg function better too. So subscribe to the channel, ring the little bell. You can always ask me questions via email, or you can DM me on Instagram, MichaelFinn490, as well as here on my YouTube channel, FinFit TV. And I hope you all have a happy and healthy day, and I will see you next time in the next video.